Hello, Just Jax here and welcome to my channel. And today we're coming back with the UV resin and these Icecube molds. Going for some cheaper options for people because silicone molds are really good, but they can be really expensive. And if you're just starting out and you want to have a little play, you don't want to blow your budget on something that you're not going to be committed to just yet. These, since summer is pretty much over, will reduce. This is like a summer collection in the supermarkets. Those of you that saw the first video to do with these know already, but those of you who haven't and you're here today, thank you. These were originally about £3 each. That is not worth it. That is not worth it to have a go. You may as well go and get a mould, spend a few extra quid, get a mould. Reduced, however, these were all between 50 and 75p each, which I think is really good if you want to just give it a go. And they are silicone, so the resin will come out. What we're going to test is, because they're not clear, can you get them to come out? Now, last time we had flamingo and cactus, and the flamingo worked a charm. See our little flamingos here? The cactus, however, came out looking like and feeling like a chewed up gummy. But I do think that is not wholly the mould. I think that's because the flamingos, I used this resting, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with these, right on top. So it was really close, penetrating with those UV rays. The cactus had this, which doesn't seem like a whole difference, but there's about an inch space between the light and the resin. And that may have been enough to make a difference because it didn't have a chance to penetrate. Because when I put the torch on this afterwards, it did start to cure. Not all the way through though, but then it didn't have as long as the flamingos because I was just testing to see if it would make a difference. So that's why cactus is back here today. We're going to give that one a try again using the light. In fact, all of these are going to be done cured using the torch because we can get up close. So I'll put cactus aside for now because all I'm going to do with cactus is put some resin in there, add a little drop of colour like I did last time, and then let it cure. So we'll move cactus aside for now because that's all that's happening there. This is where the real action is going to be at. We're going to try and build these up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some little splodges. Let's move pineapple out the way for now. I'm going to pop some little splodges of UV resin on here using a cocktail stick. So I need such minute drop of colour. I can't even risk putting a drop in there because I did this before and that made it far too, it wouldn't cure properly. And I'm going to try putting a little colour in, a little detail in, and then cure that, and then, you know, build the layers up a little bit. So I'm going to do, obviously, since these are watermelon slices, some little black in the seeds and a little green around the rind here. And then I'm going to try and put just a thin bit of red after that's been cured across the actual flesh of the melon, and then pop a clear on top of that for final touches. It's the same with this one. I'm going to do all of these, dot them all black. I'll bring it up here. There's a little bit of detail in the middle of the green bit of the pineapple, so I'm going to do that black as well, and then a thin yellow all around and a thin green all around, and then clear to finish. So that's the plan. So yeah, let's get watermelon over here first. Let's also get a little splodge of resin. Now we're not going to need much. And I have a cocktail stick for each. So let's get the black. And try not to do what I just did, which was flick black everywhere. How can I do this? Let me put the drop up there, so then I can add it like that. Yep, that's gonna work better. Right, let's see. Get a tiny bit more in there. Let's try. So this is what I'm going to do. We're going to flash forward with all our black dots in place. Okay, quite a bit of rapid movement later and trial and error. First attempt, I didn't move quick enough, so all the dots ran into the middle. Second attempt, same sort of issue. Third attempt, and I think we got what we want. I had to do a couple of dots at a time, zap it under the light, a couple more dots, zap it under the light, rinse and repeat until we got to that point. Then added the green, then added the yellow. And so far we seem good. And that's the same over here for the watermelon slice. Did all the black. That was fine because they had little grooves to sink in. Then for some reason decided to fill this one with the green instead of this one. So, you know, we'll save that for something else another day. Or, well, we'll see what we're going to do with that. And then added the red. And I think we're at the point where we can add the clear, or at least start building the clear up. And put them together there like that. Also, cactus is on way as well. It's a little bit wonky with the lines, but that's okay, you know, nothing's perfect after all. So let's get a thin clear, because we're just going to keep doing what we're doing so far and building it up layer by that's not going to help there. Layer by layer, we'll stick you in there. Not to get too carried away, so we're going layer by layer, and that's what I'm going to do that until we're at a depth that we're happy with. Then when we come back we'll pop them out, see what we got. Okay, let's see what we've got. 3 attempts. Have any of them worked? Now we've gone super slow. This has been done in like 4 or 5 layers. I haven't cured that, so I don't expect that to come out. I'll do something with that. Let's see, did this work? Oh, check that out. A little bit sticky, so I'm not going to touch that. And we've got a little handle. But it does look watermelony. Now, certain parts of this particular mould have got a frosted effect because they're not like the cactus one. I can tell is shiny. These ones seem a little bit matte to the touch. So I know that has an effect. But it does look like a watermelon slice. So I'm going to pop that under there because I've got the pineapple finishing off. So yeah, a little bit, despite doing it in very thin layers, little bit of residue in there. So that's going to get cleaned out. That will, we'll come back to that. We'll have a rind. Right, while we're waiting for the pineapple to finish, let's have a little peek at the cactus. Now again, done this in thin layers. So let's find out if we're better than the first attempt. Okay, looks like there's a bit of residue left in there, but then I haven't flipped these. But it has come out and it has cured, albeit sticky here, it has actually cured through. So we'll also pop that over there just to finish off on the sticky side. Did pineapple work? Let's find out. Similar sort of thing, quite sticky. I mean, it's cured enough to take it out, but you can still see. But you can still see where it is not fully cured. I mean, everything came away. We have our spots. We do have a pineapple. Let's also slip that under there for a second. Okay. Were any of these successful? Yes and no. The most successful one so far wasn't one that we did today. It was the flamingo. This one worked an absolute charm. The cactus does work pretty well. And I think it's because these two are shiny and they are a lot thinner. And you can see there because there's a ridge, but these are like perhaps half the thickness. Like this has got a bit of a ridge, but it doesn't have... Actually, let me pick two that aren't the same, too similar. See that thickness in difference? And that's just the ridge. The mould itself follows through. So the mould is about half the thickness of that ridge. And this one's only about a quart shy. It's very, very thin lip. That one's got a much deeper lip. So I think these work better, for one, because they're thinner. So do flip. It will penetrate a bit. And they're shiny. So the moulds... so they come out nice and clear and shiny. These ones are matte. So that does affect what the mould looks like when it... What your cast look like... Can't speak. What your cast looks like when it comes out. I'm going to let these cure for a little bit longer because they're a bit sticky in places still. But see, we're quite shiny and clear because we've come from a shiny mould. We're very matte. It looks like it's frosted because it's come from a matte base mould. This one's our little handbag one. So yes and no. Same for the pineapple. It's worked, but it hasn't. I think these will probably work fine with epoxy resin. We'll probably come back to those another day. With the epoxy and try them then. I think they'll work really well with that. Same for these. I think these will all, well, I know these will all work absolutely fine with the epoxy resin because no UV light has to penetrate it. It just cures naturally over time in the right temperature, of course. So what would I suggest with these? I suggest they're worth giving a go because they're cheap. And if you do them in really thin layers and flip them and use the torch, which you can rest directly on top, these are worth it. For 50 to 75p, they're worth it to have a little play around with. Same for if you've got epoxy. They're definitely worth it if you've got epoxy. No questions asked. These are cheap. You will have fun with them. They will cure. They will release. I'd keep an eye out for the shiny thin ones. The thicker matte ones, like I say, unless you're using them for epoxy, you're going to have some issues along the way. They are going to come out, no matter how thin a layer you do, a little bit sticky on the underside. You can't really flip them because the light doesn't penetrate enough. I think you can see, you might be able to see. See, it just shows a tiny bit where it's thinner, where some of the detail is, but through that, you can barely see that there's a light under there. Whereas these ones, especially in the mould itself, it shines right through there. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Anything in the sale, arts and crafts wise, can come in handy. But yeah, with the UV shiny, I mean, you can get clear ones at times. These just are coloured because it's pretty. I definitely pick these up, no questions asked, if you could find them clear. Because then you'd have no issue. You could flip them, cure them from all angles. They'll pop out a dream. Like I say, the matte ones, don't bother with unless you want that frosted effect. Perfect. But the shiny ones will give you a nice clear result. So that's what I'm going to say. A yes and a no. Worth getting, worth having a play with. If you're starting out and you just want to get experimenting, see where your groove is. Let's get all our little examples of the day. And including the other day. So let's see, the flamingo, that worked. Let's just take the line right there. That worked like a charm. Beautiful, cured all the way through, not sticky in the slightest, picked up all the detail, came out nice and easy. The cactus, that would do the same. That has come out clear. It was a little bit sticky because it was perhaps done a little bit too thick. It is thick compared to the flamingo. Even though he was done in layers. And these ones, again, like I say, they've come out. They are fine. They are quite nice. There's all dimples. I didn't even touch that. But they do come out frosted. As you can see, that looks like it's been in the freezer. Which has a nice effect all of its own. See that side, that's how shiny the side is that hasn't been in contact with the matte mould. That's how frosted the side is that has been in contact with the matte mould. I think it's the same for the pineapple. Nice and popping that side. A little bit frosty this side. A little bit washed out. So, yeah. Let's move these out of the way for a second. You may as well pop in there because you're a winner. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking me and my channel out. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope it's giving you some ideas, some things to try yourself, some things to avoid if you don't want these particular results. Then do just invest in some silicone moulds. Or, like I say, keep out for the Icecube moulds that are completely clear, because you can get them. You can get silicone Icecube moulds that are clear, or pretty close. Yeah, like if you like what you see, comment if you've got something to say, and subscribe if you really like what you see and you want to see more and know when it's coming. Thank you all again so much. Take care and see you in the next one.